My golden child sibling treated me like the family idiot, and now I'm done trying, but I still feel guilty. Hi folks. About 2.5 years ago, I decided to let my relationship with my sibling fade. It's kind of been eating at me, and I'd really like to get some outside perspectives. My sibling and I have never really gotten along. We bickered in the way that a lot of siblings do, and people always told us it would get better, but it never did. There were a couple times the bullying and teasing did go a little overboard, but for the most part it was just normal kid stuff. My sibling and I have always had a weird dynamic in our relationship. I usually say that we're too similar and too different in all the wrong places. Our insecurities, personalities, and preferences are just slightly off from each other. So while I was busy being jealous of my sibling for being perfect and having amazing grades in a bunch of AP classes and being the model child, my sibling was busy being jealous of me for having a wide circle of friends and in for getting more stuff from our parents. They were pretty poor when I was young, but they worked a bunch and I'd say they're upper middle class now. I wouldn't say that my sibling is a golden child, but our parents valued academics a lot and I was a consistent underachiever. So yeah, I got jealous. My sibling and I are both trans, but I'm a trans guy and they're trans masc she/they. I'm gay and attracted to men and they're gay and attracted to women. It's a weird dichotomy. I didn't realize my relationship with my sibling was so bad until the summer of 2022. The first sign that really shook me was when I took a longtime friend of mine to the bookstore where my sibling was working in the cafe. I had tried to explain our relationship a little, and failing to find the right words, my friend looked at me and said, "Oh, you mean how they treat you like you're not worth their time?" Yeah, I've seen that. That one kind of took me aback. I always felt uncomfortable around my sibling, but I had never really thought about why, and yeah, he was absolutely right. I kind of pushed it aside, though, because hey, family. I still wanted to be close to my sibling one day. We're so similar after all. You'd think it would be easier. We like the same music, the same media. We dress similarly, none of this on purpose, considering we only see each other a couple times a year. But at the end of that summer, before I left for uni again, we went together to a comedy show. The tickets were originally for 2 people, and my cousin had invited my sibling. All 3 of us were big fans of this comedian, and we had a repertoire of in-jokes from his sketches. We had watched his specials 100 times together during sleepovers. So when my sibling and cousin got those tickets, I asked my parents to get me one, too. This is probably another thing my sibling is jealous of me over. The money gap became a big thing for my sibling, I think. They saw me as our parents' precious youngest child who got everything he wanted, and started building up this inferiority complex. They especially got upset when I chose to go to an international university. They had given up on their dream school because it was out of state and the tuition was too high, going to a very prestigious in-state school for a different degree instead. They got really pissed off when I got a scholarship to my university and it actually ended up being cheaper than their school. So when I asked my parents to get me that comedy ticket, it probably felt really unfair. Like I was piggybacking on their gift, or their time with our cousin. Just to be clear, I would have gone whether or not I was with them. Like I said, I love this comedian. I was super excited for this show. I'll admit I didn't ask my cousin and sibling if it was okay to tag along, but my cousin had told me that if there had been one more ticket, she would have invited me too. So I thought it would be okay. We went together after my sibling insisted on driving all of us. My sibling spent the night either ignoring me or making snide comments about me. They talked about subjects they know I have nowhere to butt in on, and when I tried to chat with them, my sibling made fun of me for an opinion I had when I was 12. It kind of struck me then. My sibling doesn't even think I've changed. I will always be a stupid kid in their eyes, no matter how eloquently I speak or how much I grow up. They speak to me like I'm an idiot because they think I'm only as smart as a 12-year-old. I went quiet after that, and my sibling and cousin ditched me in the middle of the crowded hall to go find their seats. To add insult to injury, they got food without me. It sounds silly, but I hadn't eaten at all that day after a 6-hour shift at work, and I was very excited about getting food with them downtown. I had talked about it several times, asked what they wanted to eat, when we should meet up after the show, and they go eat together the second they can ditch me. It was another 40 minutes of crying in the back of their car until we got back to my car, and I was able to stop for McDonald's myself on the way back home. They didn't even notice me tearing up the whole way. They didn't ask me any questions, so they never heard my voice shake. That was the night I chose to let my relationship with my sibling die. I decided that I wouldn't outright ignore them, wouldn't create a bunch of stress for my mom. I would just not interact with them unless necessary. We say hi at Christmas. I get a photo of our cats once a year, but other than that they are not in my life at all. I told my mom about this decision a year later, when she was trying to encourage us to hang out together, and to my utter shock my mom agreed and supported me. She said she and my dad had always noticed that my sibling didn't treat me well, but they thought I would stand up for myself when things got too much. Even other family members, including that cousin from the comedy show, had come to her about it. I was stunned. I just assumed this was how all sibling relationships were. It never occurred to me that the uncomfortable feeling I got from my sibling would actually be validated by other people. But my mom went on to tell me my sibling had changed for the worse after they graduated. They live in an echo chamber of their own opinions, and they're so obsessed with being the tragic hero of their own life that they need to make everybody else a villain. They had even gone so far as to tell my parents that they were going to come out better than I had, which stung a lot. I came out very slowly, and it took 3 years for all of our relatives to start calling me the right name. Now my sibling and I just sit across from each other at family gatherings and don't make eye contact. It's been 2 years, and they still haven't noticed I stopped caring about them. I do feel bad, though. Like I should be trying to make this work, or that I should sit down and have an actual conversation with them about this. But to be honest, I don't really want to speak with them until I can do so without feeling like an idiot. Seriously, I recently discovered I have like a 135 IQ, and I assumed I was an idiot all my life because of my siblings' treatment. Any advice? To be honest, I could use some validation, or a better solution if somebody has one.